What screams I'm educated, but not very smart? I read a column by a veterinarian advising against vaccinating dogs because vaccines have mercury and have been linked to autism in children. Even though vaccines don't give kids autism, dogs can get it anyway, but they can get parvovirus, rabies and distemper, all of which are present here and all of which will handily and messily kill a dog. I don't think he writes for the paper anymore. I dunno. I got my dog all the recommended shots, and now, several years later, his language acquisition seems delayed. Has got autism. They bring up their high school grades if they ever feel their intelligence is challenged. My act is 33. Okay, but you have set the communal microwave on fire 3 times because your cup is metal. Setting it on fire is one thing. At least they don't leave 5 seconds left on the timer every time they take out their food. I ain't doing very well in either category, so I don't judge. Teacher in the staff room telling her co-workers she had a tutor from infant school up until she finished her degree. Then went on to argue only capital cities can host the Olympics. So does Atlanta count as the capital of Georgia, or does it prove her wrong? Because it's not the capital of the United States. Edit. Added a comma for clarity. I'm not saying Atlanta isn't the capital of Georgia. Just pondering if it counts as a capital, or does it not count, because it's not the capital. Well, basically every Winter Olympics ever blows up her theory so. And she probably didn't realize that Rio de Janeiro isn't Brazil's capital. My neighbor told me he went to doctor school. That one still makes me pause. Sometimes I call it doctor school, makes me laugh. Buying the most expensive car you can afford directly after entering the workforce, or house, or really any big purchase if you're drowning in student debt. A smart person knows I gotta pay this sheet back, and wow, if I pay it back sooner than later, I save some money. A well-educated, not very smart person says that will get paid back, but look at all this dough I'm making now. Time to let everyone else know. I know a guy who bought a Ford Raptor with every option right out of trade school, laid off less than a year later, and had it repaired. I took a class on this subject once, therefore, I know what I'm talking about. This is a good one. People who are educated and smart are more likely to know exactly how much they don't know. My psych professor told a joke about this. When you take intro to psychology, you learn you can psychoanalyze anybody. When you receive your master's in psychology, you learn that you can't. I learned 2 things in college psych. Everybody's the same, and no 2 people are alike. I learned that you get your bachelor, and you think you know everything. Then you get your master's degree and you realize you really don't know anything. Then you do your PhD and you learn that everybody else really don't know anything either. I have a PhD in life th. I used to work in a thrift store, and one time we had a customer who wanted to be let into the store 10 minutes early. We told him no, and eventually he came back when we actually opened. He then started ranting to us about how customer service should work and how we were going to go out of business because we didn't know how to put the customer first. He went on to say that he was smarter than all of us because he went to Harvard. Bonus, when he went to check out, he was buying a teacup that was marked $5. He asked me if I could lower the price, and when I told him that all prices are final, he answered with this gem: "It's always no with you, isn't it?" Smart people know how much they don't know. In college, it was always humbling when the professors didn't have an answer for something. If an old guy with a Harvard PhD and years of experience doesn't have it all figured out, the rest of us probably don't either. And that's perfectly okay. When I was in high school chemistry, we did this experiment that teachers used every year. On a spoon, heat this powdered metal, I don't know which one, and a certain amount would react with the oxygen in the air. We all dutifully performed the experiment, verified the proportion of reacted metal, and wrote it in our lab notebooks. I asked why only a percentage of the metal reacted, since there was obviously more oxygen in the room. The teacher couldn't think of a reason. She went to the head of the science department. He came back a half hour later and said that in 20 years, I was the only one to ever ask that question. He had looked through his books and couldn't come up with an answer. I got an automatic A on the next quiz as a reward. Being able to spout many facts, but being unable to follow basic logic. As I get older I'm starting to worry I'm actually a dumb person who's been told has smart his whole life for this exact reason. Demanding respect for having a degree. That is super obvious when you get a fresh graduate and mix him/her in with experienced co-workers without degrees. Extra points if the management and the graduate share an alma mater. Yes you do have a degree. No you did not fill this paperwork out correctly, fix it and stop being a dick. My mom has a hell lot of stories about that. She was a leading figure in media companies in Germany, and when they started to do a co-adventure with an American company, they sent their fresh out of college guys with their checklists they got there, and that were designed for the American media market. They just didn't want to accept that Europe does not work that way, and tried to pull through without any success. Bragging about your IQ, as if it's the only measure of intelligence. Careful, soon Redditors will start saying shit like my IQ is 140, but I never feel the need to tell anyone. Happens every time IQ is mentioned. Mine is 145, and I would never do something like that. Once I took an IQ test and my results told me, your IQ doesn't matter for shit, stop wasting your time and do something productive you ducking canned basket. Talking about your education. If you're not smart enough to avoid turning yourself into a how do you know some owns an Ivy Leaguer? Punkline, you're a dumbus. My professor gave me some humbling advice while I was in college. He said a degree is only useful for getting your first job. After that, no future employer cares where you went to school, they care about previous work experience. I think he meant that don't worry about what degree you have, just focus on learning what you want to learn. And don't rely on your degree getting you much farther than your first job. RIP Prof Johnson. High in score, but lowest score Reddit, thanks for the gold. Not being able/not wanting to hear opposing arguments. I work for a college. We had a lady come in and get all beachy with us because we're legally not allowed to give her details of her child's account FERPA laws. She started saying really shitty things about how we just don't care about anything except money or something. Yeah, IDK. So when we still refuse to literally break the law for her, she goes, I don't need you all ganging up on me. I probably have more degrees than all of you combined. She said she was a psychologist and thus understood privacy laws, but didn't understand that similar laws exist for education. She was a cant. We laughed about that one for a while. People who think they win online debates because the other person isn't typing grammatically. People who can very artfully argue a point, but who simplify the issues involved down to the point that their conclusions are severely flawed. Sure, Karen, Bob could plant the apple he got from Susie and see a massive return in investment over a 10-year period. The issue is that Bob hasn't eaten in 2 days and has been given a single apple. Realistically, what the hell do you think has going to do with it? Edit. Okay, guess him learning about apple seeds today. Also yes, I understand that my analogy did exactly what I was arguing against. That was kind of the point. Bob can still eat the apple and plant the core of the apple though. Have seen a hematologist who can speak circles around you about clotting factors think that their basically new computer had to be replaced because their mouse stopped working. It had a ball of lint blocking the sensor. Having a good job, but still living paycheck to paycheck, financing a new car every year, going all out on holidays too frequently, eating out every meal. Yeah, they were educated to get the great job, but not very smart to still be struggling with finances. The ability to memorize but not think. There's a lot of smart people that have problems once they get to university because they never took the time to develop decent study habits. They coasted through high school on intelligence alone, but hit a brick wall once they realized how much more work uni requires. So basically the opposite of this thread. People who would rather point out you're being wrong about something than help them understand it the correct way. I had it explained to me once in a way that really clicked. Don't tell someone they're wrong, show them why you're right.
N.
Bachelor's and master's degree, but no idea how to use photocopier and answer the phone. My 4. 0 in high school and college, sister managing to drive our shared car on low gear for an entire month. Never once looked at the center console to see that it was on L and not D. That's more unobservant than dumb though. Simply looking down on others. Treating less educated, but otherwise intelligent people as somehow lesser beings. Also treating unintelligent people badly. Smartness can't be fixed or changed, but being an asshole can.